Welcome back to the Ibn Beis HaMidrash for KLM, the Kavanah L'Mitzvos Foundation. Someone actually, I spoke to an Israeli about the whole idea that we're focusing on here, that mitzvahs need kavanah and how it can transform you. And he explained, I said, my wife came up with a good term, KLM. So he looks at me, he says, you need a program for Israelis. You can call it El Al. So that's that's a later. We'll get to that later. But right now, let's stay with KLM, and we're about to do the following mitzvah: the mitzvah of iyun tefillah. So besides the fact that we're learning Torah, and as I always say, since mitzvahs need kavanah, and the difference of those few seconds of thought beforehand is profound. So have in mind we're doing the mitzvah of learning Torah, and have in mind the mitzvah of iyun tefillah, which we learn is amazing. You will for sure reap eternal reward for studying the tefillah deeply, but you get fruits now. Do you hear this? So have in mind the mitzvah of iyun tefillah. As Rabbi Miller says, when you look deeply into all the Torah that's embedded in our prayers, for sure that's a huge mitzvah filled with fruits. Okay? What are we going to study again? Tehillim. Now, last time we mentioned that if you've been reciting Tehillim for any number of months, years, you will hear story after story of miraculous rescues and salvation and people pulled out of... I remember one man who was just recently deathly ill, in a coma for 4 days. They called for an intense Tehillim. They sent out a picture of him sitting up in his hospital bed eating a hot dog. Now this is happening all the time. We use it, it's powerful, and Hashem responds to us. So we mention, wait a minute, if someone did something so incredible for you, certainly you would want to say thank you. And we do, we say Baruch Hashem. But why not? Why not use that same Tehillim that pulled us out of trouble? Why not use it to thank Hashem, to put that same level of... And we're going to talk about this tonight, the uniqueness of Tehillim. Let's bring it back and say thank you with it. And we pointed out, I'm not putting a big burden on you. Every single morning you recite Mizmor LTodah, right? You say every single morning is part of our daily prayers. All we need to do is frame it as a thank you note. It's a thank you note. And have in mind, and we pointed out, according to Rabbeinu Yonah, that thanking Hashem is a Torah commandment. Not everyone realizes that. We're supposed to remember all the kindnesses and wonders Hashem did in the Midbar, but it didn't stop there. The Sefer Radim says, Kal v'chomer. Also, if we're supposed to remember the good things Hashem did to them, all the more so ourselves, right? So, Mizmor LTodah, when it appears in your siddur, just have in mind, Hashem, I want to thank you for all you've done for me, for all the refuahs, the healings, the shidduchim you did for me and my friends and family. I'm going to dedicate this as a thank you note for that. So, makes sense. And people started marking up their siddurs, Baruch Hashem. I recommend you try this. They're putting little hearts or little thank you note symbols by their Mizmor LTodah so they don't miss this opportunity, because as we said, and as the Ran says, a little bit of thought beforehand, the difference between a mitzvah with kavanah and without, he says you can't count, it's just not calculable. Okay? So now, someone asked me a good question. They said, really, what if I just say Baruch Hashem? What if after the refuah that comes, a person says Baruch Hashem sincerely? And you do see that. When you get the return thing that the person has, thank God, recovered, people say Baruch Hashem, they had a refuah Hashem. And we say Baruch Hashem and we mean it. So I love the question because I wanted to really think clearly, what is the difference between Baruch Hashem, after you've had some sort of healing or refuah or Yeshua, and reciting the Tehillim, and especially reciting Mizmor LTodah, Tehillim 100. What's the difference? Okay? Let's begin first of all with how they're the same, and then we'll go to what I would like to suggest. There's a profound difference. In fact, several profound differences. Let's think into this question. What really is the difference between a heartfelt Baruch Hashem and reciting Tehillim, Mizmor LTodah? Now, I put it Baruch Hashem, not verses, God forbid, and Tehillim 100, right? Let's see what they have in common. What's really amazing, and I think we discover it all the time, is Hashem always is making it an imperative, something that's so good and healthy for us. And now with modern neuroscience, it becomes clear constantly, right? What are they talking about? The physiological effects of gratitude, right? It is one of the biggest things being talked about. Endorphins, feeling gratitude. It's, again, Hashem, we discover that which He's all the time emphasizing, expressing gratitude. That's what most of our tefillah, etc. This is what the world is realizing is so good for us, so healthy for us. So, step number one, right? This is why I want to say that I hope that working on Tehillim can really make you a better person and a better feeling person inside. So, number one, when someone does something good for you, step number one is you feel gratitude. And that is already, if you feel gratitude, already it's a fertile ground to recognize Hashem. And if you feel gratitude towards Hashem, that is a big level. That's a big madrega. So let's not knock that when something happens, we feel gratitude. We don't take it for granted. That's level one, right? What is the next step? Expressing appreciation. Not keeping it inside, but expressing it outwardly. And if you notice, this is a exegetical analysis of English. If you notice, they say, the expression is, I felt gratitude and I express appreciation. So feelings are inside, expression is outside and outwards, right? So we have feel and express. Now, 1 and 2, feeling gratitude and expressing appreciation, is shared by Baruch Hashem and Tehillim, right? They're both, if you're saying it and you're saying sincerely, it expresses feelings of gratitude and it's an expression of appreciation. However, on number 2, the means of expressing the appreciation is very, very dramatic if we compare Baruch Hashem to Tehillim. The means of expression. And then thirdly, and this is only with Mizmor LTodah, Mizmor LTodah is a way to give back, right? Again, when a person feels gratitude, wonderful, it's inside. When they express appreciation, they've done something for the giver, right? That to their benefactor, they said it to them. But what's more, what if they give a gift of a token of appreciation? That's another madrega. And we're going to talk about this later. But Mizmor LTodah is the only Tehillim in Psukei de Zimra that actually represents a korban. You're giving Hashem, and you're making an offering back. You're offering Hashem this Tehillim, which is negative korban, the korban soda. We'll discuss that. It's very deep. Okay, so we have these two differences. The way you express appreciation, we're going to explain, is dramatic, and with the Mizmor LTodah, you're giving something back. Now let's compare Baruch Hashem versus the Tehillim, Mizmor LTodah, in terms of a means of expressing appreciation. When you say Baruch Hashem and it comes from the heart, that we already said is itself a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to thank Hashem. So if you say, as we say, mitzvahs require kavana, but if you say Baruch Hashem and you have in mind, I'm thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's a mitzvah, so that's very special. Tehillim is divine. Tehillim, the one who crafted the words, Hashem rested his presence upon him, and what he's uttering is divine truth. Now, as an expression of appreciation, it's a whole other level when it's divine. And that's point one. And as we said before, you should look at Tehillim as a script crafted for you to recite to Hashem. And even better is when you reflect on who authored these words. The Gra says in Mishlei that a Ruach HaKodesh, the greater the person, the greater their wisdom, the greater their nevuah, the greater the intensity of their and level of their Ruach HaKodesh. Who wrote Mizmor LTodah? I know what you think. You think it's David HaMelech. And David HaMelech, there's no words for David HaMelech and his holiness. He didn't write this one. Moshe Rabbeinu. These words of Mizmor LTodah were written by Moshe Rabbeinu. There never was and never will be a greater prophet. Someone so close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now he's writing a script for us to express appreciation to Hashem for what he's done. So think of how close he is to the one he's writing this, if you will, love letter, this thank you note of deep love, written and crafted by Moshe Rabbeinu. And as the Messias Yesharim points out, even the Tehillim of David HaMelech, his Avos Hashem and his Yiras Hashem are imbued into the Tehillim, and when you recite it, you actually are imbued with the Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem. It's actually a way to attain Chasidus, a very devoted state of connection to Hashem. So now, look at this. You hear this? Moshe Rabbeinu is telling us, crafting for us, making a script, how to thank Hashem. So that's the first aspect of why this is a powerful, extra, and profound expression of thanks beyond saying Baruch Hashem. Now we're going to see two more reasons why it's worth it to sanctify your intentions when reciting Mizmor LTodah, and how it's such a great way to thank Hashem for all he's done. We're just going to look at two words, and as usual, the depth of divine Torah is amazing, because what I'm going to share is just two words. Mizmor LTodah. Mizmor is a description not just of the Tehillim, but how to recite it. There are Tehillim that say shir, and there are Tehillim that say Mizmor. Now, a shir, in English, we would translate it as a song. And it's not, Rabbi Miller explains, it's not necessarily sung with a melody or music. Not necessarily. Perhaps maybe even a better way to explain what a shir is in Tehillim is it's divine poetry. You hear this? Now we know, let's just think about this. You have prose. I'm speaking first in just human language. You have prose, poetry and song. Prose are words that are arranged, but not in the same level of artistry and craftsmanship as a poem. Everyone knows a poem has an effect on a person that just mere prose lacks, okay? So you have prose versus poem, and I'm not even getting to Tehillim yet, but right? Now, a song, in modern times, because of pop songs, popular music, a song doesn't seem as lofty and beautiful as a poem, right? A poem to us sounds like something that was more crafted and has art. That's because of the modern expression of song. But imagine someone crafts an elegant poem and then they bring music in. They bring melody and instruments. The effect is even deeper, more beautiful, right? If a person would really craft a poem and then set it to music and song and melody, it goes into the other's heart on a whole other madrega, a whole other level, okay? So we have prose. Okay, now let's move into divine connection. When you say Baruch Hashem, it's prose to Hashem. And it's coming from your soul, and it can be sanctified into a mitzvah. Great. But when you say Tehillim, not only is it divine and scripted by someone who understands our Creator so well, but not only that, it's poetic. It's not regular prose. I'm talking about regular Tehillim. It can be poetic. So if it's a shir, a song, or a regular Tehillah LeDavid, there's a beauty of poetry in it and a depth of poetry, but lahavdil, it's divine, so that's even beyond. But when we say Mizmor, we go to divine poetry that is set to melody and music. And guess what? This is a Tehillim that the Shulchan Aruch says you should sing with a melody and a nigun. It's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch. We could talk about Mizmor LTodah forever, but I'll just hint to why. The reason why? This Tehillim, we're only seeing the first two verses. This Tehillim will be sung in the times of the final redemption. It's the only one we'll still sing. It says all other songs will stop, but this one, Mizmor LTodah, will get. So it's eternally divine, poetic music. That's what this is. And that's what we're supposed to do, right? So you're supposed to sing it. Now, and we're going to kind of put this all together at the end, but now let's go to just the second word, LTodah. Right? That refers to the Korban Todah that they brought in the Beis HaMikdash. Now, what's very interesting about that, okay, oh wait, one thing, before we get to that part. If this is supposed to be recited as a melody, as divine poetry, but if it's an offering, right, it counts as an offering. That's why it's not said on Shabbos, because you can't bring that offering on Shabbos. It's not said on Pesach because you can't bring that on Pesach. So it's taken seriously. Our lips are really, if you will, offering a korban to Hashem. So I give you a choice. If you had to bring a korban, would you rather bring the korban of Cain or Hevel? That's a rhetorical question, right? Hashem did not turn to Cain's offering because he gave flax. He did not give a choice offering. The offering it was rejected. But Hevel gave from his choicest property, right? Hevel gave the choicest and it was accepted. So here's what I want to beg you. See, Kavanah lemitzvahs is what you think before you enter into the mitzvah. And we said, You have in mind the mitzvah thanking Hashem, and that this is a thank you note for all the previous Yeshuas. But then we move from KLM to KHL, Kavanas Halev. That during the recital, your heart has to be in it. You have to be connected to what you're saying, expressing, singing, poetizing what you're saying. So the thing is this: if you just run through it, just realize I did an offering of Kayin, right? We want to bring an offering of Hevel. We want an offering that is choice and Hashem turns to. So please use this as a prod to slow down. And even if you just say, okay, we're just starting. I know that there's a pace with Psukei Hashem in most places. But if you just say, Mizmor LTodah, how about that? Just those two words, and connect to them. Offer Hashem a choice aspect of your heart. So that's what we have. Now, the fact that it's a Todah offering also is very instructive for us. And we'll finish with this. The Todah offering is a thanksgiving offering. And many people think that if you just want to thank Hashem, so there is this idea of a nadava. If you want to thank Hashem, you can bring an offering. But the Korban Todah was an obligatory offering in certain circumstances. You weren't obligated except under the following four circumstances. When you recovered from a very serious illness, or you traveled across the sea, which was very dangerous in those times, or you traveled across a desert, which was very dangerous, or you got out of prison. Those are four reasons Hashem pulls you out of things miraculously, usually, right? So that's what it was for. So let me ask you a quick question. How can we recite a Korban Todah every day? I mean, thank God I felt good today. I didn't get out of the hospital, right? I didn't get out of prison, thank God. I didn't get in prison, thank God. Baruch Hashem. But so now the question is, how can we say it every day? Ready? The Yavit says as follows. Every single one of us, every single day, has experienced hidden miracles of salvation. In other words, and the Gemara explains that a person will have miracles happen to him and he's just unaware. The only one who knows is Hashem. So if you speak to any doctor about how many things could go wrong in your amazing, intricate body, you realize it is quite possible that something happened today and you were rescued from that. Or, as we said, to live as Jewish people with the neighbors. From time on, we saw what can happen. There's a little bit of unrest and everyone comes out against the Jews. So it is a miracle on a daily basis. We say that also in the Modim prayer, on your miracles. It says that, on your miracles every day. So what that means is, not only is Mizmor LTodah a perfect place to express a divine thank you note to Hashem, but it also and you can catch up, right, for all the Yeshuas you and your friends and family have had. You need to recite it today, and that can put you in an incredible position to bring your heart into this and really say, when you realize, I don't know how, but Hashem saved my life today. Imagine saying it like that. What we're saying is, we're not just thanking Hashem for past rescues and past savings. We are required to say this Mizmor LTodah because we're experiencing miraculous salvation on a daily basis. We should say it on Shabbos too, we just can't. So, we now understand that when you say Baruch Hashem, it's beautiful, it's a mitzvah, have it in mind, feel it. But when you say and recite Tehillim Mizmor LTodah, realize you are reciting a divinely inspired script crafted for you to thank Hashem, written by none other than Moshe Rabbeinu. And recognize, as you about to say it, that I don't know what happened, but something very happy occurred and I was spared and Hashem did a miracle for me. Then sing it. Sing it with joy. Realize that this divine poetry is meant to be sung with a melody. Mizmor LTodah. And offer a pleasing offering by singing it from the heart and giving your choicest emotions and thoughts to Hashem.
Shir